Hello, 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 everyone. It is Elson 932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here to guide you through Married at First Sight Australia, the week 2. Okay, we're going to cover episodes 5 through 9. 9 was released today. This is the commitment ceremony where we find out who's going to leave and who's going to stay. So we are here for it all. We had 2 more weddings this week. We had some activities. We had a dinner party. It is jam-packed. But how are you feeling today, JR?
I'm all good, thank you. I'm all right on this post Valentine's weekend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Post Valentine's, we don't really, we don't formally celebrate Valentine's. So every day is Valentine.
Yeah, yeah. For some people, that's the way it flows. For some people, they expect gifts out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Is it that they anticipate gifts because there have been no gifts all year?
Oh, no. Sometimes they've had gifts. sometimes sometimes they've been given gifts, and I think there are just sometimes where people um haven't necessarily been good or nice, but there's a level of expectation anyway, just for the sake of it.
Oh, you talking about real life, but that's also on the show.
Yeah, it's applicable both ways, correct?
So, y'all, we're going to follow the couples based on the commitment ceremony. Today, it was dropped. Those of you who know where to go watch it, how to go watch it, okay? The episode 9 was dropped today. It's usually dropped in the morning, like 8 a.m. EST. So we are here for all of the shenanigans, okay? We are here for all of the shenanigans. So the commitment ceremony started off with a couple that's already married. Okay, it's a couple that is already married. They started off with Luke and Mel. This week, it was revelations. People watched either the videotape of the audition tape, and people also had revelations of how they've been in the past. We have had the revelations of how Mel behaves in the past. And we also saw that Luke's sisters are out on social media talking about Mel. And we had red light, green light, where each of the sections, men were together, ladies were together. They were able to say the red and the green of their partners. And where Mel let us believe, if we're going to use the word gaslit, let us believe that Luke is the worst thing she has ever encountered. But here's the thing. Y'all, we saw this card. Let me add this to the stage. We saw this. Mel had, what is the most shocking thing I did after a breakup? And the most shocking thing she did, y'all, was she basically stalked the ex. Stalked the ex. She and her friends, and they do that to their exes. They stalk each other's exes to see if they're home, do drive-bys, and they do it for each other. What were your thoughts this week on Mel and Luke?
Okay, well, specifically on the stalker part, I think that screams red flags. Why? Because that's not normal behavior. I definitely doubt her story that she was going to see if they were at home. Supposing they weren't at home, what are you going to do then? Go to places where they frequent and see if they're there? What are you trying to find out? If your exes, are you trying to catch them in the act? Well, you have no claim because you're not together anymore. You're an ex. So, yeah, I think that should have been something that Luke paid attention to. And Mel kind of said it as if it was something she was proud of. I mean, that's not something to be proud of. That's giving bunny boiler.
Ooh, in the Fatal Attraction,
Yeah.
in the red light, green light, she said there are no green flags with Luke. And it's red because he has no feelings for her, and he makes her life a living hell. He's been malicious to her, he sulks, he hates her, and will do anything to make her feel bad. Did we miss something?
Yeah, we missed how crazy Mel actually is, because Luke has been giving her a lot of grace. He's been taking his time, he's been patient. The person that's been sulking and causing a major block and barrier to this relationship is Mel. She hasn't taken accountability. Well, no, I can't say she hasn't. She actually admits at times how horrible she's been and how distant she's been. And but she's also trying to blame that on Luke when he's the one that's been trying. And every time he does try, she gives the resting bee face and rolls her eyes. She creates a distance between them. And she's going around to the group and she's beginning to tell fictional stories now. She's trying to embellish to try and put herself in a good light. So they rally around her, particularly the brides. They rally around her and say, oh, but guess what? Gia has noticed. Gia is calling her out. You're not giving him a fair shot. You're not giving him a chance at all. You got your walls up because you don't like him. You've got the ick.
That was Stella.
Oh, that was Stella that said it. Oh,
Yes, Stella. Stella
no,
who's
Gia
with
said it as well. Gia has said it as well.
Okay, I didn't hear because Gia. Here's where I got a mental block because Gia told Stella when Stella was questioning Mel, Gia was like, "You're not a girl's girl. You're not a girl's girl.
Yeah,
You
she did
you
say that.
you know you're supposed to believe the girl." Well, today on the commitment couch, the experts called Mel out and they kind of revealed it to the rest of the group to realize that Mel is full of caca because they were like, wait a minute, let's talk about, what happened. She's like, well, I wanted my fairy tale. He was not there. And we find out the timeline. He was only about 20 minutes late in the whole scheme of things. But she did not get her fairy tale. And because she did not get her fairy tale, she didn't feel a spark and she's been pushing him away. And she's disappointed that she did not get the blonde, blue-eyed guy that she ordered in as Wilco Rehash says through the maths drive-through. She did not get the man that she ordered.
Right.
So they told her this is a wake-up call. You need to wake up because this is foolishness. Life is not a fairy tale.
I'm glad she got that reality check because when you come on this show, you don't have you might have a preference of who you would like. They ask you what your type is. That doesn't mean they're going to give you your type. They're going to match you with who they think you would match with. And it's more to do with the personality and what you're looking for emotionally rather than the physical attribute. So she's very delusional. And this fairy tale that she was looking for, how does she know that the type of guy she's ideally looking for is going to find her attractive? Because the moment he sees her behaviors, that might put him off anyway. So, yeah, sometimes people just, they think they want something, but she's not prepared to do any work to salvage the relationship. And, like I said, it's not necessarily on Luke anymore. Apart from the wedding day, it's all been Mel trying to, turn a relationship into, or lack of relationship into a thing.
Right. It definitely has. So, y'all, when they are on the couch and they are talking to the experts, then they have to tell us whether they leave or stay. I'm trying something this week. Let's see. So this is, oh, wait a minute. I need to make us. There you go. This is what Luke and Mel had to say. He said stay. He said he wants to continue to try. And I had to side-eye him. Luke, why are we trying? And Mel said she wants to leave. And look at her expression, y'all. The very, very sulkiness. She's telling us that he's sulky. Here we are with Mel sulking on the couch. What are your thoughts on their decisions?
Unbelievable. Luke has expressed that he doesn't know what to do anymore. He's told her how she makes him feel, and he feels like he's exhausted. At the dinner party, he looks so uncomfortable because he's looking at all the other couples and how close everybody is. And him and Mel are the least close couple. Like, they have not made any inroads in terms of their romance or anything. So he also notices how lively she is when talking to everybody else compared to how she is with him. So I'm very surprised at Luke for picking stay, and I'm not surprised that Mel chose to leave. But as we know, in this format, if one person says stay, the other person says leave, then you're given a week to try and fix things. And I don't think a week is going to fix anything. I think this couple is well beyond fixing.
Right. And what are your thoughts that he wants to stay on the show? Munira says he wants to stay on the show for more airtime.
Yeah, I don't see why he would want to do that, because the airtime he's getting is very it's not good. It's not good. He ain't getting no love, no affection, no, they're not having any good conversations. There's nothing exciting about the relationship to stay for. So I'm not sure why he would want more airtime on a relationship that we can clearly see is not going to go anywhere because of Mel's lack of interest in him. She doesn't want it to work.
She certainly doesn't. She certainly
No,
doesn't.
she's checked out.
That's what we have seen. She is definitely not here to give him a chance. He is not the blonde, blue-eyed babe that she ordered. And he was late, he chewing gum. She can't get out of her head. Now, if she wasn't trying to like disparage him in that red light, green light, I'll be like, she's just in her head. She's just caught up. She just can't get out of that, wheel. But her trying to drag him down to the other people, I was like, oh, you dangerous. I thought it was just a stalking was dangerous, but this else is dangerous. You want everybody, including us, the audience. If we didn't see other parts of Luke, we would have been at Luke, truly.
Yeah. And that's what some of the villains do on these type of shows. Even though they're the cause of the problem, and even when they see and recognize that they're the cause of the problem, they have to try and demonize or villainize the other party, right? To try and get what they call it. They call it flying monkeys, I think they call it. Like, you try and get the group to hate the person as much as you do, when you're the problem yourself. And one of the other things that's quite telling is when he's revealing how he feels, like his anguish or his disappointment, that's when she actually starts to smirk, like she's happy that he's in discomfort. That's how you know there is no love there whatsoever. She is happy to see him frustrated, going through it, not being able to connect. She likes it. It's like she's punishing him.
True. It is like she's punishing him. So any other thoughts on them? Because
only to say, I don't think they're going to last another week. If they're on the couch next week and they both don't pick leave, I'm gonna really think something's up here.
True. I'm with you. Luke needs to be on Farmer, needs a wife, or in Luke's case, I would be like, leave Mel so we could do this all over like we did last season with Elliot. Remember Elliot, and I believe his wife was Lauren, and Elliot left, and they're like, we'll try this again. And I think that Luke needs a do-over.
I agree.
Without production's hand in the leaving of the rings. Because I'm sorry, production, I ain't gonna believe that you didn't have a hand in Luke for getting those rings. Okay. We could have had a ceremony and somebody could have gone back to the place, gotten the rings, and y'all could have slid it to him in time for the taping of putting rings on the hand. Y'all didn't have to do this, but y'all But anyway, next up is on the couch was Gia and Scott. This week with Gia and Scott, what did Gia say? She said green flags with communication. They have great intimacy, but he forgot her daughter's name. And he also said in his confessional thing that he don't want to pay school fees for nobody's child. Okay. Now Scott said it's all green flags, and the red flags is that she wants him to shave. I'm guessing it's his face. He didn't say much more than that. But they talk about their journey from the wedding, how physical they've been. We see Beck and Danny kind of squirming. We don't know if that was actually the right time or it was superimposed. But we don't hear on the couch this week them talking about how he talked about the school fees. We did not dive into that. And I said, experts, y'all missed this opportunity
Mm,
to dive into this. Why did he think, this way he don't want to pay for nobody's child and nobody's child's school fees?
yeah. I think that is something to dive into because obviously she does have a child. I think this was very messy on the end because showing them the confessional, obviously they haven't seen or met their partners yet. So what they wanted ideally may not be what they're presented with, just like we just said with Mel. She wanted a Bradley Cooper, blonde-looking guy. She didn't get that. Scott said he wanted a lady who doesn't have children and this, that, the other. He didn't get that. So it looks bad because obviously Gia, she's going to get in her feelings about this. Her biggest concern was the fact that she's got a daughter already, and how would that affect her finding a connection on the show? So for him to say that it's a big deal on the confessional, that's what made her emotional. However, I do think that Scott seemed to be pretty honest and upfront. And so, whatever bad feelings were stirred up by his preference, I think they managed to work it out.
You said he's honest up front. Are we going to talk about his scandal? Are we going to talk about his scandal?
We can, but I swear that was prior to him coming on the show. But let's talk about it.
The scandal, y'all, is that he is still technically married to this young lady, and she's out there saying, I married him a few years ago and we are not divorced. This is all alleged, y'all. This young lady has stepped forth. She has the Gia look, okay? And so he has a type. And she said, yeah, he's still legally married to me. So what is this maths married is about? She is out here on these internet streets. So again, when you say he's honest and upfront, I'm like, is he honest and upfront with production? Did production actually do this?
Okay. Very true. I also heard another scandal, which is I think he's on OnlyFans, or he used to do OnlyFans as well. So he hasn't revealed that on the show either.
Well, the man has to make money, right? I have no problem with you on OnlyFans making money. That's an honest living.
Is that one of his businesses that he said he has?
He said he has many businesses, several businesses, okay?
Yeah. We've probably several OnlyFans.
Hey. Welcome on in, Millie. I say we have new faces here. Millie, 76. Happy Sunday. Catching a live. A little late to the party. This is only the second couple. We are going through how the commitment ceremony goes through. And so definitely welcome on in. And I saw Faisy C. I hope I said that correctly. Welcome on in. Glad to see y'all. But she really did want to stay mad. You're right. Despite his reassurances. And why did we keep on asking, do you know her daughter's name? Do you know her daughter's name? Everywhere now I see an interview with Scott, everybody's asking, do you know her daughter's name? I'm like, y'all, quit it. He just met her. You're lucky he remembers her name. I mean, come on, leave it alone. That's the only sympathy I will give Scott. But on the commitment couch, y'all, on the commitment couch, we, of course, have the both of them here. Let me put this in perspective. And they both wrote stay. He says stay. 1,000% or 8,000%. And she says, I'm not leaving. Okay. So they both wrote stay. They are there, but they were talking about how hot and heavy they got, and we saw Beck and Danny getting a little uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah, because well, there's clearly a dislike between Beck and Gio for a start. Clearly a hatred there. But I think it was a no-brainer that they were both going to pick stay or not leave, because their connection has been one of the strongest so far. And not just because they've been intimate, but because they actually kind of got what they wanted, except for the child part on Scott's ideal preference. But in terms of looks and aesthetics and chemistry, they seem to have gotten exactly what each other wanted.
Right, and he has said he's dated ladies with children before. So it's not like he hasn't navigated this, in his regular dating life. He has navigated this. He just, as you said, this is his preference before meeting his person. I'm sure the question was, you know, the this is the ideal. I could
Yeah,
accept other things, but this is, if I was writing a fairy tale, let's bring that word back out. For myself, this is what I would want.
right. Hmm.
Absan says it kind of looks like Gia wrote, I am leaving, and added the not at the last moment.
Nah, she ain't leaving. You know what? She's too boastful to leave at this stage. You know, her and Scott have amazing chemistry as far as she's concerned, and and like her thing is, she made a big deal about being intimate with your partner at this stage, and they've done it. So she kind of sees that as a show of compatibility. So she ain't gonna quit on Scott yet. She wants to win.
Yeah,
She
she
seems
wants
to
to
be
win.
very competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely wants to win. Okay, let's see who's next. Let's see who's next. Oh, somebody says you have a good point. Gia has to be perceived as the best wife and couple.
Hmm.
Yes, she definitely does. Now, next up, okay, let's get to our media assets. Next up on the couch was Danny and Beck. Okay, Danny and Beck. Let me pull up what they had to say about each other. Beck said the green light was communication. She felt safe. She trusts him. Red was their sexual chemistry. He may think he's better looking than her. He might be right though, Beck, but that's just my eyes. And we didn't really see Danny stand up and say anything about Beck in that whole, time. But here's the thing, when they were rating the spouses, we saw that he decided he wasn't going to do it, and he tossed the photos out the window and told
Hmm.
her when he's in a relationship, he has blinders on. So he's not even going to rate because he doesn't even see those other women. What were your thoughts on Danny and Beck this week? And then I will let you know what they said on the Commit Me couch.
He made the smart decision to fling those photographs out the window because he knows how insecure she is. If there was any, listen, I think if he had even picked her ahead of the other girls, she wouldn't believe him, because um, that's how low her self-esteem is. She would automatically assume that he's just trying to appease her. And then if he put any of the ladies above her, then he wouldn't hear the end of it. So the best thing to do is just get rid of all of it straight away. Smart man.
He
Um,
says, I'm being a cheeky lad.
yeah, smart guy. Um, Beck's insecurities have been shown pretty much from the start. She accuses him of looking at other ladies. She asks him if specific outfits are to attract attention from other ladies. And then going into the dinner party as well, you know, Gia has said, that Danny was looking at her the most out of all the other husbands.
Looking her
So
up and down.
exactly, multiple times. So she assumes that Gia is probably more Danny's type, ideally, than Beck. But Beck didn't pick up on those things. She didn't pick up. She wasn't being very observant. But at the same time, could have been production and editing because he was, seen looking over quite a few times. Yeah, not good. So Danny, you need
We
to
don't
put your
know.
eyes back in your head and focus on Beck. But it's hard because Beck is a very insecure person, and he has to be careful that he doesn't get demoralized by that. And she needs to be very self-aware that what she's doing, and she needs to stop it before she does it.
But the thing for me is Beck's behavior is very unattractive. When he met
Yeah.
her, I'm still caught up, and this is where I guess I'll tap into my male, inner male in me. When he gave her that gift of the pin on his lapel from their wedding, and she intentionally left it, and then she makes these, ugh, for me, Mel's behavior, even if she doesn't like that, item, that was very unattractive to me, and it's a form of rejection to your new spouse. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Danny could really be like, I ain't really feeling her because she was being disrespectful. She left the pin on the couch. You're not even appreciative of a gift that he gave you, even if you didn't understand it.
Yeah. I mean, very early on, when you see someone who's not appreciative or grateful, then it can definitely affect how you proceed in the relationship, you know? That brooch that annoyed her so much, it was just a symbol to say, listen, I'm the king for the day, and you're going to be my queen for the day, just for the wedding. And she was like, yeah, I hate it. And she was, making a big deal out of it. Um, Beck is someone that to me, she comes across as someone that will just steal the joy out of the room. She will take the energy down, man. If she sees you happy, if she sees him happy and smiling, what are you thinking about? Why are you happy? What happened? Why are you smiling? And, what? So I can't be happy now? What I have to tell you every thought that's in my mind? That's the type of insecurity she has. If she's not the root cause of why he's smiling, then it has to be something sinister. Yeah, she's a
I
problem.
I know I had the photo, daggone it, I didn't upload it, of him. Remember we said how he looked in Fiji after their intimacy and he's staring out the window. I had that photo. I did not download it, but I'll have it for y'all next week. If we last another week, well, on the couch, Beck talked about it was a wonderful wedding. They had intercourse in Fiji, and I know she threw out Fiji because certain people didn't get to go to warm spots or such an exotic location. But she also talked about how he pulled back, and he talked about they had low sexual chemistry, and in the real world, with that, he would have run away and not even stayed. So they both acknowledge everybody moves at a different pace and they're in a better place now with their intimacy. And on the commit me couch, they both said stay. She said stay, of course.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think they put stay for different reasons. I think he genuinely is hopeful that there's a turnaround in her behavior towards him. And there's an improvement on the chemistry, because I think he's losing the sexual attraction based on how she behaves towards him. It's turning him off. All the insecurity is just ruining his experience of really getting to know her, right? And I think she is competitive with Gia. She does not want to quit this show before Gia does. She wants to outlast Gia by any stretch. So she's not going to just leave. They have some work to do, because it looked to me like he got that PNC, that post nut clarity. Um, after the first time, and he was like, "Nah, man, I don't think we should do this again because my like didn't grow for her. In fact, I'm becoming more put off. So if I continue to sleep with her, she's gonna get even more invested in the relationship. It's gonna be harder to separate if it doesn't work out." And I think she was the opposite. I think she was insecure and kind of, I don't think we're going to have a spark. I don't think we're going to have a connection. As soon as that pipe was laid, she starts raving about the Danaconda. And, you know, it must have been the first time in a while for her. So she was very excited and she expected that it would have brought them closer. But she doesn't realize that it's the insecurities that keep driving the wedge, not the physical. Yeah. So the more she continues to project her insecurities, the less he finds her attractive.
I totally agree because here's the thing. It to me, as I said, her behavior, her looking at everybody else, when they were doing the red light, green light, I was like, oh, the girls are gonna smell blood and come for her. It is sharks in the water, Beck. They are going to come for you. But again, now that I'm going through my notes, I am like, I really didn't understand. We didn't hear his, red flags, green flags for her. Saying, production, what are you doing? Is that going to be an exclusive? We need to know exactly what he thought red flags and stuff about her were, but we will get to
There's
go
a
ahead.
problem with that though, because we know that these red flag, green flag tasks do get back to the partners. And it wouldn't be wise for Daddy to do that because Beck will take it to heart. She may even flip out, maybe even punish him based on what he mentions as being the red and green flags. So
Oh,
you need to tread carefully with anything negative or any criticisms or critiques. He's done a good job so far of being upfront and articulating himself in a way which she might not like what he's saying, but at least he's being honest. And I don't
right.
think he's saying it to be mean. He's
No.
saying it to try and mend the relationship. So I think he's coming from a good place. But I think she's going to be very prone to taking his views a different way.
Yes.
Yeah, she's that sensitive.
Yes. That she is. Speaking of a sensitive couple, next up on the Commit Me couch this week was Rachel and Steven. Okay. Now, this week they had a great week. On the couch, they talked about their wedding, how it was a great wedding. They talked about the hiccups. And in their revelations task, it was that, Steven had body issues, body image issues, and that he lost a lot of weight in order to, make himself what women find attractive. But he knows his height is a limitation. And with their red flags and green flags, she said, what did Rachel say? Green flags is that they're excited. She's excited about his passions. He has a kind heart. There are no red flags right now. Steven says she's the most selfless, biggest heart, interested in his interest and showing hers. And the sense of humor, he said the red flag is his sense of humor does not align, but the men were pouring into him and say, hey, just be your authentic self. And, they all saying his personality is great. Um, your personality for your boys and your personality for your lady are two
Two
different
different things.
levels of
Mm-hmm.
personality. Though I love the fact that they were encouraging him, Stephen, it seems like he has learned because what I loved about them on the when talking about it at the dinner party or at the commitment ceremony, Rachel is there and she is like, yes, Stephen made a mistake. I have forgiven him. We're on a better path. My only question with these two is it does not seem to be a romantic path. What are your thoughts this week about Rachel and Stephen?
I think these two are I think they're good for each other, to be honest. And I tell you why. I think Stephen is socially awkward. He hasn't had a relationship in a long time, and he doesn't have high self-esteem. He's very, it seems like he's not confident at all, because in his initial videos and stuff like that, he was saying he doesn't fit the current standards to be attractive in today's dating market, and he knows that. So you can see he's very much affected by that. But what Rachel does is reaffirm him and really make him feel special. And on the other side, Rachel has not had a real relationship. She's had a long situationship. And I think the way that Stephen is with her, he's non-judgmental. Apart from the joke that didn't land, they've been quite solid. They're seen holding hands under the table and having support for each other. So I really think they match. They're very good for each other. Aesthetically maybe different. I don't know, but because obviously the romantic side of things, they haven't slept together yet, and whatnot. But in terms of what they do for each other's confidence, self-confidence, I think they're very good. That's a good match.
Yeah, I think they are very good for each other. I agree with you. They are what each other kind of like need, even if they're not together at the end of this. It's like a palate cleanser to kind of get them to be their best self for whoever their next person or their person may be. That's how I see them. Even though it's not romantic, I think it's exactly what they need for each other. Now, it was funny when Steven told us that, "Oh, yeah, we got that fish, and if this ain't work out, we're gonna have a custody battle." And I thought of last season that we have a couple in the courts in Australia, and I was like, "Steven, no, 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 no. We don't want that for you." But I know he was making a joke, y'all. I know he was definitely making a joke, but I don't see a romantic connection here. They are holding hands. They are, very, very hand on hand action, but I don't feel, romance from them. But let me pull up what they said. Okay. What they said on the commitment couch. What they decided to do is they decided to both write stay. Okay.
Mhm.
They're both gonna stay into this for another week and, see where this goes. The experts were liking this for them, liking their pace, liking what they were doing. So I definitely am here for, Rachel and Steven and their journey.
Mhm. I can see them getting closer the more time they spend together.
Yeah. There isn't much more to say with these 2. Unfortunately. There isn't, or fortunately, there isn't much to say about them. Next up. We're gonna follow how the commitment ceremony went today, y'all. That's the what I'm trying to stick with, okay? Next up is Rebecca and Steven. Now, y'all, um, let's start here. This Steven, I'm sorry, it's off to the side, y'all. This Steven stood in front of everybody in the red light, green light challenge and had a lot to say about his lady. Okay. Okay. He had a lot to say. Steven said, here's my notes. There are multiple green flags, but the red flags, she needs to talk all the time. He doesn't get her humor. It has, sexual innuendo. He's conservative. She's not his usual type. She's less conservative. Her emotions are high and low. He's not sure what he's going to get. She's opinionated. She's outspoken. Her expectations are high with intimacy. He's slow to be sure, but she is impatient. Stephen had a lot to say, even though he says she talks all the time. And on the Commit Me couch this week, he did a lot of the talking. I'm like, Steve. So much so that when they asked Rebecca on the Commit Me couch this week, um, Alejandra, she asked, hey, how is this for you, Rebecca? Steve interjects and they're like, we asked Rebecca to speak. He was speaking the entire time. But Rebecca says she's craving affection. She's expecting more from him. He's like, wait a minute, I'm more conservative. And the expert said, do you feel the attraction to Rebecca? And he's like, now? They're like, okay, well, wait a minute. Has there been a change? What was the change? He's like, well, I don't know what you're talking. They're like, you made a distinction of now versus then. So the expert John says, ask Rebecca, does he make you feel desired? And she's like, no. She doubts that Steve looks at her as more than a friend. She starts to cry. She is scared about being rejected by Steve. And, he said he's going as fast as he can. And I'm thinking, does Steve have a woman on the outside? That was my one thought. And two, he did say for that question that he said there are multiple, but he didn't list them.
Mm.
Remember we talked about the ages of Stephen's children and how young they were?
Mm-hmm.
So the age of the children's mother is not Rebecca's age group or his. That is
No.
just my assessment. So
Mhm.
again, I'm thinking Stephen didn't get the lady he wanted in the experiment. And is this just a placeholder in his life until he can get back to whoever he really wants to be with? What are your thoughts on Stephen and Rebecca this week?
Initially, I thought they were a great match. They seemed very thrilled to meet each other. Um, Everything was going well until the red flag, green flag game. And I think this game is potentially dangerous because, no one's perfect. And so if you're honest, there has to be at least one or two red flags, despite how well your relationship's going. I think, though, what happens is, just like in Stephen's case, when he expressed what those red flags were, he was maybe a little too honest and said too much. Now everybody's kind of looking like, huh? We thought you were perfect. Huh? Does she know that you feel this way? Things like that. And I think he overshared. I think Rebecca she seems to be fine. I mean, she does have a loud laugh, but other than that, um, you know, she seems to come across very well on the screen. She seems to be level-headed, not involved in any of the messiness going on. So I think he's actually done very well to end up with Rebecca. Now, I hope he doesn't self-sabotage, because if he is looking for a younger model, tough. You don't always get what you want. You can only work with the cards that you're dealt. So you need to get over that. Forget about that. If his children's mother does have a significant age gap to him, and it didn't work out, maybe that's a sign that a younger model's not for you, bro.
True.
Maybe you need someone more mature and on in your same age group that you can actually have more of a chemistry and compatibility with. So I hope he doesn't sabotage it by being too brutal with his assessment of their relationship.
Well, Faisy, see, we don't know if conservative means prude in Australia. He is only 50. But again, he's on Married at First Sight. You're marrying someone. Does that mean you're going to be in an affectionate, less marriage? I know I said that wrong. No affection in this marriage. No, you're not going to talk about intimacy. You are marrying someone. So I think too, what was startling for the men at the commitment ceremony was they're like, wait a minute. He said that. I said, we don't have any problems. We're good. We're great. We're wonderful. Da 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 da. And the men are sitting there like, wait a minute. That's not what you said the other day when we had the red light, green light. You had a lot to say. And they are just sitting there like the men are looking at each other like, am I crazy? Or did we not hear the same thing? So I think that is my biggest problem with Steve. It's like now you're in front of the experts and you're trying to hide and cover up. And now I'm like thinking production, you didn't let the experts see red light, green light. So y'all could pull up Steve and say, wait a minute, we saw you had a lot to say. We saw you
Mm.
had a lot to say about your wife and red flags. Why aren't you bringing them up here?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I feel that there's a disconnect here
Yeah.
with production and them. So during the commitment ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they both wrote stay to work on this. Rebecca, you ain't got to worry about that passion burn that you talked about before because this man's beard is getting nowhere near you. I'm sorry. I have to say it. She was worried about that. This man's beard is coming nowhere near you.
You think so?
I think so. Here's the thing. I think the way he's being presented, because y'all know this is an edited, produced show, the way Steve, sorry, is being presented is that he wants to be the leader in the intimacy and the affection. And if a woman comes on too strong, he ain't for it.
Mm.
He ain't for it. Oh, you trying to lead me to the bedroom? No, 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 ma'am. I need to lead you there. So yeah, I don't think he for it. I don't think he really wants to be with Rebecca. And he keeps saying, I'll go at my own pace. This is the pace I'm comfortable with. I'm not going any faster. And it's like, sir, you married someone at first sight. That's a pretty fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying? This is the pace you're and when people say that to me, this is just me. When people talk like him, when people talk and say, "Hey, this is the pace I'm comfortable with. This is all I'm comfortable with doing." That tells me you may have somebody on the outside that you don't want them knowing that you went, full throttle with your TV bride. That's what it's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, Steve. I don't know what he got going on. Definitely, definitely. Hey, Sam. Definitely, I think something's going on with Steve,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
probably.
Rebecca, Rebecca welcomes the fact that he has young children. Rebecca is all
Mm-hmm.
about that. I mean, what is it? Just because she, conservative, she's not out here at the dinner parties giving us overly sexualized jokes or anything like he says, oh, it's too much for him, too much. She's keeping that behind closed doors with her husband. I'm having a disconnect here.
Yeah, I think if Steve can't keep up, well, not keep up. If Steve can't align his uh conservative, um if he can't resolve this conservative issue with her, then how would he expect to have a functioning relationship with someone younger? He's probably going to be more, like not as grown, not as mature. The younger models, yeah, they may have a higher frequency to want to get sexual, but he might not be able to keep up with that if he's all about conservative. And I think but the other thing is Steve does have 4 children watching him on this show as well. So I don't think he wants to do too much on camera. Like, I don't think he wants to talk about it or allude to it on camera too much. That may be what he's talking about.
Yeah, but how did the kids get here? I mean, come on. You ain't got to talk about it on camera, but we know exactly how children are made. Okay. I
Yeah.
understand that conservative mindset, but my thing with Steve is that you're making your wife feel undesirable. You
Yes.
won't even talk about it with her in private. We are not seeing what he is talking about unless editing is editing Rebecca to make her seem, the ideal bride and Steve is the one with the issue. I mean, that could be, on the low low.
Mm.
But the way we're seeing it, Even when we saw her talking with her mom and friend and all that stuff, it could be that she's being curated like that, but we're sitting here and he's talking on red light, green light about all these red flags, but he doesn't bring it up in front of the experts, is where I'm looking at him like, dude, the experts just say, use us, use this time that, use this time to definitely use our expertise to get ahead in your marriage. He's showing me he ain't interested in her, he ain't interested in a marriage. And I'm with you, Quay. He's giving sugar daddy vibes. I don't know. I don't know. But some sugar daddies are not that conservative.
Yeah,
You
but
got to
sugar daddies have to give up the sugar as well.
But also it's like these young ladies, the mothers of your children, how did you get them to be with you and having your kids? I mean, you have to be at least a sporty model in order to get these, young ladies.
Or lead
And
with
what
money. Lead with
oh,
money.
oh, okay. Okay.
The younger models, the guys in their age group may not be the finished article. As the older guy with multiple businesses, he is the financial finished article. So he led with money and probably attracted the younger girls. But look where it got him, single with 4 kids. So he's on the show to try and find a wife. And like I said, Rebecca seems like a very good pick, a very good choice, a very good person for him. So he needs to overcome, if it is the sugar daddy vibe, if there is if there is some type of misalignment with the way that they view the physical and emotional compatibility, he needs to resolve that. That's on him. And that's what the experts are for. Talk to them if you need to. I wouldn't go back and talk to the fellas about it because they're all trying to work through their own marriages as well. And anything he says may be used against him at a dinner table or the dinner parties or whatever. So, speak to the experts, bro. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they are there for. So, I already showed you what they said. They're going to be here. They're staying for another week. We shall see if they do better.
Mhm.
Next up on the couch, Brooke and Chris. Ooh wee. This week, she talks about how his vows were negative and he was skeptical, and this is a 0.00000001% chance. He does admit to being pessimistic on the Commit Me couch, and he says he's been proven wrong. Okay. Now, Brooke does talk about the Revelations Week audio tape because remember, Chris says he doesn't like ladies with a fake tan who are clingy and anyone who is, y'all, pardon me, this is what he said, fat. He doesn't like fat people. Okay. So this has rubbed people the wrong way. In the red light, green light, she did bring it up as well, letting everybody know how he felt about all of this. Now, what did she say? Let me pull it up. She said? Green light is he wears his heart on his sleeve and he's honest. Is he? He complains a lot and she has to stop him. As a red light and the audition tape. She said she's going to stay during the red light, green light in order to teach him. Okay. But we also saw a different side of Brooke during red light, green light. It was a whole lot of red lights to me. Okay. This is what we saw of Brooke during red light, green light. Y'all, I have it for y'all.
I roll. Yep.
These are all the many faces of Brooke, Mel, Gia, but it's mainly Brooke. Let me take this down. You see all the faces Brooke was making? Y'all see
Yep.
that? These are all the faces. And at one point she, how you do a raspberry on a baby's belly, she made that sound effect too. This was Brooke at red light, green light. Even coming at Elisa, the bottom right, she was coming at Elisa. Are you done? I know. Are you done? It was ugly. Okay. So I think Brooke and Chris maybe two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. But y'all, what were your thoughts this week? Let me change this because I can't look at her in this manner for much longer. What were your thoughts on Brooke and Chris this week?
Man, so I started off instantly thinking, what the hell is Chris doing on this show? Um, you know, big skeptic. I thought he was going to be like a wet blanket, someone that just dampens the mood, turns it negative at every opportunity. He hasn't been as bad as I thought he was going to be. Brooke, on the other hand, I thought when she came out, I thought they were going to be a good match. Like, he seemed very impressed. She's a model, um, you know. And then, like you said, the red light, green light task came about, and that's when she transformed and revealed her true self. She's a mean girl, because what her and Gia like to do is gaslight by saying, "Hey, you're not a girl's girl," but then they spend every opportunity they get tearing down the other women and their marriages. So you're not a girl's girl because you attack girls yourself. You just don't like it when people don't align with your view. That's the issue. Gia and Brooke have aligned themselves and consider themselves to be baddies, whereas the other girls are more frumpy or not interesting. And because they think they're so hot, every opportunity that they get to poo-poo and tarnish the other relationships, they do. And Alyssa, who else was it?
Stella.
Stella. Yep.
Yep.
They saw it straight away. And they were like, nah, I'm not going to allow you to tarnish my marriage like that.
Julie
So,
and Rebecca. The other ladies saw it. I mean,
yep,
Rachel too.
yep, they all saw it. And the thing is, even when they get called out for it, they go quiet for a minute, then they start up again. They find another way to do it. It's just innate for them. It's natural for them to hate. They're just haters. Now, Brooke, she did make some valid points. When Chris had that makeup on his $300 shirt, he was making a bigger deal out of that than necessary. It's only a bit of makeup, dude. Go and change into another one. I swear, who was it that was? I think one of the guys was even wearing a shirt exactly the same as his. Change. Like, if you can't get the stain out, change. But like I said, she kind of pulls Chris up when he starts to get into that space. But he hasn't seen her when she's in her hater phase. He hasn't seen that yet. She's only expressed that to the other women. And when she's with him, she's somewhat different. So just as everyone was gathering their horses at dawn to be ready for Chris, now we have to look at Brooke, and we have to call this out because her model looks and the way she sees herself is obviously making her very critical of the other ladies. Yeah, she's kind of pedestalizing herself and looking down on the others, and that's not cool.
Now on the commitment ceremony, let me pull it up. They both put stay. They both said they wish to stay. Okay, y'all, for those of you who are now joining us, the commitment ceremony today, I guess it was aired, like 8 a.m. or earlier EST. But this is where this is from. They were on the couch and I cropped in, basically they have to write a note about whether they wish to leave or stay. Every couple has to do it. And then they show you whether they wish to stay or leave. But she put stay with a pile of crap next to it. I wonder why.
Stay in this crap. That's what she's talking about.
So
Uh,
let us also get to we're still with them. Okay, we're
mhm.
still with them. I'm going to change this because we need to be full on with this one. The Brooks scandal.
Oh yes.
For those of you who are not following the social media or the media of Australia, it turns out that last week it came out that not only Brooke is still with her ex, she used to tell production, this is all alleged, she used to tell production that she had to go away for modeling gigs on the weekend, but she was actually going to see her current boyfriend. And when people were saying, oh my gosh, Brooke is with child, Brooke was confronted, and I don't like this, y'all. I do not like confrontation of any cast member in public, but this is what happened with this media personality who went out there and asked her, hey, Brooke, are you a child? Are you expecting? And she said, oh my God, no, where would you get that story from? Yet yesterday, it came out in a magazine that she is engaged. Also on her IG, she is engaged to her, what she said was ex at the time. She's engaged to her prior boyfriend, and she is indeed with child. She is rounded with child. So everybody's saying that she had to either know she was expecting while she was on the show, or was quickly with child while she was still on the show. What are your thoughts with this about her behavior and all of this coming out?
It's very villainous. Um, so yeah, it's even worse from what I heard. So basically, she was intimate with her ex 2 days before coming onto the show. And her and the ex, she said that her and the ex broke up 3 weeks before coming on the show. So then during the show, it hasn't happened yet, but there is a rumor that she's going to quit the show once she finds out she's pregnant. And unfortunately, this coincides with Chris crashing out about being photographed in public in an area where there is not meant to be any media. So he takes offense and lashes out at the cameraman. That's the unofficial cameraman that's not meant to be there. And that gets him into trouble. And at the same time, she does a runner when she realizes her situation. So even though they put stay, I think it may be for another week or so, and then they're both out of here. Because
You
the
know,
rumor before the show aired, they were saying that Chris was going to be a problem, and he does something crazy to get out of here. They did not mention Brooke scandal. I wonder why that is.
she's a runner, she's a track star.
Yeah,
And the thing is, it was gearing up with the media that, Chris was the entire problem. The media churning out was that Chris was the entire problem. Because remember, he came in to be skeptical. He came in to prove the process wrong. He came with all of these things that he's paired with Brooke. But I don't think the experts understood how much Brooke is going to feed into his narrative of how much this is like not
what?
real.
Exactly,
Because again, you put me with a young lady who didn't break up with her ex, but she said 3 weeks before, and now she's out here expecting and engaged, and it's like, whoa, this
exactly.
this narrative.
The crazy thing is on the couch this time. He was willing to concede that he was wrong initially about his skepticism. But as soon as this comes out, he's going to want his apology back. He's going to say, listen, what you guys have proven me right. I had a right to be skeptical. You didn't vet this girl properly and you matched her with me. Okay, fair enough. She may not have known she was going to get pregnant, but she was still in contact with her ex and still in a relationship the whole time. So she'd come on there for fame, really, not to find a husband.
And it tells me that production isn't very, they like to say they're strict, but they're not very strict. It's like, okay, Brooke is saying she has to go away for a modeling gig. She has to have a contract, right?
Mm.
Nobody goes and does say, "Hey, I got to go over here to model," and they don't have a contract through their
She was,
agent, through their agency, somewhere.
but she was modeling. She was modeling for the ex.
Where's the contract?
It was a verbal contract. The verbal contract is, I'm gonna come back on the weekend and we can go back into our relationship and we can model, we can pretend to be husband and wife. Because when you look how booed up they are, I think it was around Christmas time. They're putting up Christmas decorations and things
Yes.
like that. Yeah, like I don't think she actually had the intention of finding a genuine relationship on this show. I think it was an opportunity for her to put herself out there.
I think so too, and I think it kind of, like, went tick, tick, boom in her face because I don't think she was expecting to be expecting, and I don't think, it's like, why the performance like that at the red light, green light, and being the all the way mean girl? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Is there
Hmm.
anything else about Brooke and, Chris?
Um,
Any other scandals out there? Or is
yeah,
that not enough?
I think we covered the scandals, but I genuinely was very surprised at how Brooke has turned on the other ladies like that. That is crazy. You know, her relationship with Chris is not it's not good enough for her to be trying to look down on the other ladies like that, in my opinion.
And that's what I think. I think it's a matter of, like sour grapes is that she probably expected to be on a better footing. And now all
Hmm.
these ladies who she thinks are less than her. This is my
Hmm.
assumption, y'all. That I don't know. I don't know, Brooke, but it's like y'all have good marriages with those men. That's the attitude I was getting from it.
Yeah.
So, so next up on the couch, we have a new entry. We have a new couple. They just got married this week. Julia and Grayson. Okay. Julia and Grayson. Let me put this up here. This is one of their wedding photos. They got married. I don't know why they got married out there in a public, like a very public, like touristy visitor area. So we saw people walking by their wedding. It's like they just had a velvet rope around the section. I was like, that was a little distracting for me. But Julia and Grayson, remember, Julia didn't know if she was going to meet a man or a woman at the altar. And she was quite, she said once she saw his eyes, she felt safe with Grayson. And he is awesome. They are building a friendship. Grayson says he doesn't want to get caught up in the friendship though. But after the wedding, they had this moment. They had this very, very lovely moment right here where they were kissing each other. There was no cameraman involved, meaning telling them how to pose for wedding pictures. They had this moment where I thought, like, this was some sparks right here. I thought they kissed and she looked at him a different way. He looked at her and they continued to kiss each other. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have hope for this couple. But then I no longer have a little bit of hope because he says, I'm being stuck in the friend zone. Okay. He said, I need us to make small steps in romance. So the experts ask, is there romance? He said, not much. And she says, no. But she says she's honoring her process to take it slow. She wants to feel safe, and this is a dance. And he said, yeah, but Julia, this has been all about you and how you're feeling and nothing about how I'm feeling. He said he has been there for her. He is patient, he is open, but she's saying she didn't know he had these feelings about their intimacy. Now, I didn't see Grayson talk anything red light, green light, and we did not see her talk about red light, green light. So I guess they were saving them for the couch. What were your thoughts on Julia and Grayson this week as our new couple?
So I thought that initially it was a pleasant surprise for her to see someone as attractive as Grayson because she didn't know what she was going to get. Um, and she was pleasantly surprised. Tall, fairly handsome, well groomed, and all of that. Polite guy. He was pleasantly surprised also when he saw her. Thought she was stunning. The elephant in the room was her bisexuality. And at the wedding, when they were eating at the table, I think him and his buddies were asking her, so is there something that you need to reveal or something like that? You know, they asked her a question, and then she was like, well, I'm 35 and I'm bisexual. And he looked very shocked, but he was very welcoming at the same time. You know, he didn't, give her a crazy face or ask too much about it. Said, okay, that's fine. I'm open to it, which relaxed her and improved their connection. So from there, I thought they were going to go from strength to strength until I saw that they are not capable of sleeping in the same room. When they got to the so that's a telltale sign straight away. You're not comfortable sleeping in the same room, okay? So there's a barrier there, and she doesn't feel quite ready to be intimate yet. Fair enough. Intimacy is not smacks, everybody. They're two different things, but she's got her walls up about the intimacy side of things. So him being patient is one thing. The problem is, when does being patient start to hinder the process? Because he doesn't want to be in the friend zone, and the longer it takes for them to be romantic or intimate is the longer he stays in the friend zone. And once you stay in that friend zone for too long, you're not coming out.
Correct, you're right, and, like Plain Janie thinks that, Julia wanted a woman. We heard that she had more relationships, romantic long-term relationships with women. She only had 1 romantic relationship long-term with a man, and I wonder if, again, if she just probably her preference was to have a bride instead of a groom, and did the show do a disservice by, giving her a groom?
I think the opposite. I think they did the right thing by giving her a groom, because she's had more relationships with women and they haven't worked. So, as we've said before, there's one thing to specify what you want going into the show, but that may not be what you get when the experts match you with someone. The problem with her is, if she was full blown playing for the other team, then they would have matched over a woman. Because she was so ambiguous, she didn't mind whether it was a male or female. There was a chance she was going to get a guy, and that's what she ended up with.
Right, Grayson is very open, he is very open to everything, he is not, I was wondering if at the dinner party, he's gonna be like, "You're looking at the other brides, are you attracted to any of the other bri" Nope, Grayson is very open, he just wants her attention on him, he wants, her to show more affection to him, and as he said, affection, they don't necessarily need to sleep together. He wants some attention from his bride that isn't friendship level. But
Yeah,
yes, I am glad, Millie, we are definitely glad that on the couch he spoke up, that this is his marriage too. And when, Julia said, "Well, I didn't know he felt like this," I'm like, "Did you allow for him to speak? Did you allow for yourself to listen? Because he's saying all he's been doing is listening to what you want. So has there been space for him to share what he wants?"
yeah. I think sometimes that happens. Sometimes people forget that relationships are a two-way street. You know, you can express all your wants and desires and needs all you want to, but if you aren't willing to reciprocate and hear your partner out, then you're making it all about you. And the relationship's never going to be all about you as an individual. It's about the both of you and what you can build together. So,
And with
yeah.
that, they both wrote stay on the
But
commitment couch. They
it's only
both
been 5 seconds. So
right.
I wouldn't expect them to be writing leave.
Well, they haven't been tortured, okay? They don't feel tortured like Mel said she's been tortured. So yes,
Exactly.
I do see where they can learn to grow this next week, and I can
Hmm.
see where they can go. So now she has to, just pull it back just a little bit, and just a little tweaking. Just tweak it back a little bit and allow for him to talk, because it was wonderful when they got back from the couch and was sitting amongst the group. She did hug him. She did, like, be apologetic, kind of like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was making you feel this way, that you couldn't speak." And I have hope for them that they can, move along further.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some hope for them. Just a little bit of hope. Just a
Hmm.
tad bit of hope. Next up on the commitment ceremony, was Mr. I gotta go down on one knee or else she won't say yes. Alyssa and David, okay, they were on the commitment ceremony. Remember, they had their wedding already.
Yeah.
They
Hmm.
talked about their wedding, talked about basically they're the same person, how they were raised, their Christian and moral values. Meanwhile, the Mean Girls during the commitment ceremony, the Mean Girls were talking about how Brooke and Gia was, saying that Alyssa's voice sounds like an infomercial for the show. And I didn't like that at all, but the Mean Girls were in full effect. We did not see, or did we see? Let me see. In the men, yeah, David said there were a whole lot of green flags, honest, family oriented, and caring. And Alyssa said it's all green flags. He listens. When she talked about, something she wanted to go see, not too long later, he's like, "Hey, honey, I booked you the tickets for us to go to the exhibit." So she is very, very proud, very, very happy with him that he listens and he makes moves for them, to certainly enjoy each other. So definitely they are making good strides. What were your thoughts this week about Alyssa and David?
Um, I feel like they are a good match. They seem to have a good, happy vibe between them. He seems very thoughtful and very caring, and so does she. Very attentive, very caring, very, very compatible. Um, Despite the initial prank at the beginning, they've managed to get closer the more they spend time with each other. You know, um, after his trip and fall in the steam room, they got to see other sides of each other where it brought them closer. So I don't have anything bad to say about their connection at all. They seem to be very open, honest, communicative. They have a level of intimacy as well. There's no beefs between them. So I'm happy for them.
We did learn that when he took that slip and fall and hurt his knee, that he broke the tile in that shower.
Yeah,
He
right.
fell hard.
Yeah.
He
He's
fell
a big dude
hard.
though. He's a big dude. That
Yes, he is.
he clearly is quite a solid individual. And all that pounded yam and stuff that he gave him big bone structure. So
Right.
yeah,
But yeah, he did mention how she was very caring. She was very, she brought out that softer side. And let me pull it up. So of course, in all of this, they both decided to, write stay.
yeah.
Sorry I didn't get a better picture of them, y'all. They were just very animated. So every
Mhm.
time I would pause, it would be like their eyes were closed or very, very odd look on their face. This was the best one. But yes, they both said stay, and yes, I'm happy for them. It's going to take something real wild for this couple to be thrown off their game. It's going to be something a little real wild. But I have high hopes for them.
Mm. Same.
Okay, so next up is the last couple. Okay, let me grab the media assets here. I'm doing a whole lot. I'm doing a whole lot here. New couple alert. Philip and Stella. Now, y'all, Philip and Stella, this was their wedding. This was the end of their wedding. Philip actually picked her up and walked out, and he almost tripped, y'all. We saw a little shuffle. He almost tripped, and I'm glad because we do not need another instance where a groom is dropping his bride, okay? If you weren't here last season, you missed that one. A groom dropped his bride while they were dancing, and she hit her head on the ground, and it went bonkers from there, literally. So this was Philip and Stella. She is from Lithuania, and his family is from Croatia. So we understand why they were put together. He does have a social media following, and that was the biggest thing in their wedding for her people. Is he here for the right reasons? Is he here just for his social media? They were very much like, I don't know about this man. And I was very, very put off by her people saying that when he was confronted by one of her friends, she was like, I know you're angry. You're angry, you're put off. And it's like, he's telling you he's not angry, he feels misunderstood. It was just put off for me. But we did see on the commitment ceremony, he talked very well about their connection and their wedding. The experts did mention they have great eye contact. They also mentioned that they have given each other massages, full body massages that lasted more than an hour. Like, okay, that y'all are fit. Okay, what more than 1 hour body massages? I need to know their definition of a massage. But Stella says she wants to protect their happiness because of what happened in red light, green light. When she was sharing all the wonderful green flags, y'all know the mean girls came out. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. That's what came out during red light, green light. But she wants to protect it. And the experts were like, oh, is your happiness hard for some people to swallow? I said, oh, no, y'all didn't say that. But she says questions were raised at the dinner party on whether their affection was actually authentic. And the expert John says, well, who in the group here feels these two are not genuine? He put it front and center. Who here feel they're not genuine? Brooke did raise her hand and says, hey, they're very hot and heavy early on. Gia said they're picking baby names already and they're full on after 5 days. Everybody's going to think it's fake. But then Brooke thinks that Stella is playing the victim, and nobody said they're not happy for you. But, Julia says, hey, Stella is just expressing how she feels since there was mean girl energy. And Brooke is like, well, Stella was mean girl to us too. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, where are we going with this? Now, Alyssa speaks up and says, don't worry about it. I was also told our relationship was fake as well. And Gia tells Alyssa, and I don't like telling people this, but this is Gia's words. Gia told Alyssa to shut up because all you do is speak in an infomercial voice, so pipe down. And Brooks told Alyssa that Alyssa is the one that's been rolling her eyes at everyone, or Stella also is rolling her eyes at everyone at red light, green light. But we have Brooks' faces. But the expert John brought the strength down in the room, okay? And he says, Philip has got your back, Stella, okay? And Stella says she's here for her person. She's not here to self-sabotage. If she gets hurt in this process, is okay, but she's all in, and he could be her soulmate. And he feels blessed to have been matched with Stella. What were your thoughts this week with all this stuff going on with Stella and Philip as one of our two new couples? Can't hear you.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, right. Stella and Philip are a good match. Both European heritage. Stella aligns with Philip's parents' journey, having to travel from Europe, start in Australia, overcome a lot, and make something of yourself. So she really connected with that story. Philip, very tall and looks after himself, has multiple streams of income as well. I think he said he's He's got a social media presence, but he also has a day job as well. I think he's a carpenter or something like that. So, yeah, so um, he does have some aesthetics about him that may irk people the wrong way. And I think in the vows, when he mentioned that a bit about himself, talking about he's a YouTuber and this, that, the other, I think it was completely taken the wrong way by the guy in Stella's circle, right? He wasn't saying it to promote his business. Remember, these people have not met and don't know anything about each other. So in her vows, she spoke about her journey, even spoke in her native tongue a little bit to give meanings and phrases and stuff. And she basically said, this is who I am and this is who you're marrying. He did the same, but it seemed to trigger her friends when he did it, not when she did it. So the guy, I don't even know his name, but he was like, that's a red flag. Automatically, all of the positive things that he saw initially, well-groomed, tall, handsome guy, this, that, the other, he immediately, disregarded all of the green flags and focused on the fact, he mentioned he's a YouTuber. He may not be here for the right reason. So he was trying to sow some seeds into Stella's mind immediately. Then we have the crazy friend, the clairvoyant. Before Stella comes down the aisle, she starts asking him about, so what star sign are you? And he's like, Cancer? Okay, that's good. That's good. So he turns back around and he's trying to get his focus. Then she interrupts him again. Oh, what's your magic number? Is that number 9? Oh, excellent, excellent. So you can immediately see that this friend does not know how to read the room, right? These are questions you could ask afterwards when you're getting to know him, but you're kind of taking him out of his concentration and barking these things out in front of the friends and family. Then the icing on top of the cake, after the ceremony takes place and the bride and groom are having their dinners and mingling a little bit, she pulls Philip to the side and then basically starts to say, I'm onto you, buddy. I can see through you. I know you better be here for the right reasons, or because if you hurt my friend, then, and he's saying, look, I'm here for the right reasons, And then she starts to gaslight him. Like, I can tell you're angry. I can tell you're annoyed. You're breathing heavy. Breathe. Breathe. Count to 10. Calm down, young man. You're beginning to shake. You're beginning to get angry. I see it in you. You've only known this guy 5 seconds. How are you analyzing his behavior after knowing him 5 seconds? This is the first time you and him are talking. It was completely a gaslight situation to get him to react and possibly ruin the ceremony and keep Stella single or keep her from marrying this guy. That's what her friend tried to do.
Here's a wonderful thing we learned in that experience. Stella does not listen to her friends.
Right.
Stella has
Because
her own thoughts.
Exactly. She was asked about that. Do you usually listen to your friends when they give you advice in your relationships? And she said no. But in this instance, she's right not to listen to them, because both of those crazy people pulled her to the side and basically conveyed their insecurities and their fears and tried to project that into her. And she listened. She said, okay, I'll listen, but I'm going to be vigilant myself and see if I see the same things you're seeing. And thankfully, she hasn't, because the dude seems to so far be a stand-up guy. He's not trying to, promote his YouTube activity or anything like that. If anything, he's been actively trying to cultivate their relationship. He's given her space when she needs space. He's given her affection and physical touch when she needs that. They've shed a bath together, albeit they were in their trunks and swimming costume. or whatever. But they've been very close. So I think this couple is also a very good match.
Could we talk about something else that happened at their wedding that was very, very interesting? And y'all, I know we're the audience here, we are made up of many different customs and cultures. And Stella has, a custom where they are to have a shot of alcohol. It is to bless the union, it is to celebrate the union. That is a custom for her culture from Lithuania, as she said. But Philip does not drink. And in his motivational speaking to men, he tells them to stay away from alcohol. I believe what he says is it clouds your mind. It is not good for the nutrition of your body. And he had to refuse to partake of this custom. His friends are sitting there saying, "You might as well drink. You might as well drink. I want to see him drink because this is her custom." But Stella took it in good stride when he explained, "Hey, I don't drink." What did you think about that whole, scenario, and her reaction, the family reaction, everybody there?
I think he did the right thing. Um, his if his lifestyle is to be teetotal, right? That doesn't mean that on the wedding day he gets a pass. He's trying to say that he's disciplined and he sticks to his word. He's not easily swayed. There are health risks associated with alcohol. A lot of people know that. And one shot isn't going to kill you, but one shot can impair your judgment or cause a slip of the tongue or cause some type of disorientation. And he didn't want to do that. He wants to always be in control of the things he can control. And that's his behavior. And that's how he shows up to everybody. So I think he did the right thing. But I can also see the other side of it where some people say, "Oh, well, you're a bit boring." Okay, if you find enjoyment at the bottom of the glass, that's a you problem. There are some people who see the smaller things or the finer things in life and enjoy that. I'm teetotal. So I've had it where, I've refused alcohol and people be like, "Huh? You don't drink?" No, I don't. It's not healthy. And not everybody reacts to alcohol the same way. I don't like the taste personally. So I'm not going to drink it. I don't care if there could be 10 people taking shots around me. I don't like the taste of alcohol. And I'm in health and fitness anyway, as a healthcare professional. So it wouldn't be a good look for me to drink alcohol. My clients would see me do that and they'll be like, "Well, you're just like us." No, I'm trying to tell you to come off the alcohol.
Right. I'm not, teetotal. I guess that's how you say it, which means, dry, sober, don't participate. But, um, definitely, holiday settings, I'll have one, but, I'll drink at my home. That's it. I'm not something like that, though. I can understand the pressure he's under.
Mm,
Now you are in a position with a new wife, a new family, you're in this new setting. This is your belief system being called into question based on a tradition, and you don't want to insult. You don't want the family thinking that you are going to push away their traditions, but you just cannot partake of it. I think how she handled it and how he handled it showed me a lot about them, and I was enthused for their union. But I don't think that her family, since they already didn't like his behavior with other things, especially his vows, which they got to realize, production also helped them write those vows. Certain things
mhm,
got to be in there. But I
mm,
liked how balanced it was. And when he explained, "Hey, I tell men not to drink. I do not drink in my life. That is my lifestyle." And she respected it. And I think that was wonderful.
mm. And I would also say there are alternatives. There are non-alcoholic beverages. Doesn't have to be a shot of alcohol. Could have just taken a shot of grape juice or fruit juice and toasted that way. And that would have been an alternative. But if they specifically wanted him to drink alcohol, he doesn't have to. It's his body, his choice.
And that brings to mind how people say with the shows that they want people to drink and show their behinds, for lack of a better word. They want people who like to drink and they, pushing alcohol on people. Yet here's a man who clearly does not indulge in alcohol and he's on the show.
Mhm.
I mean, he's, for lack of a better term, he's basically, what people are saying that, they don't want on that production wouldn't want on the cast.
Mm.
But to let us also, so this was easy. They both wrote stay. They are both going to stay. Happy face and a and a heart. And they're going to protect their relationship against those both foreign and domestic. He is aware, and you can see it on his face and the commitment ceremony. They He knows what has been said about them, and he got his wife's back. Okay, he got his wife's back. Okay, so they are definitely one of the strongest couples so far. And, yes, production, they have said, cast members of the past have said that production helps with writing on the vow. So when you think some things are kind of odd, production has wanted certain things in there. Okay. But mocktails, I don't think, mocktails are interesting, but I don't think Philip even wants the impression that it is the possibility of being an actual cocktail. So I don't even think the way he carries himself and the way he's presented, I know this is not totally who Philip is. I don't think he would even, have anything that remotely even looks like it could be an alcoholic beverage.
Fruit juice, water, there are options. He must have been
Healthy
drinking something.
healthy living.
Yeah, carrot juice. So
Right, the apple juice will look just like if it's champagne and the thing just no bubbles. I mean, come on. I mean, you have sparkling cider. I mean, that could look like champagne and it's not.
you have sparkling apple juice.
Right. So, definitely I like the fact that he stood his ground. I'm glad that that was my first hiccup. I'm glad that she understood it and they both wrote stay. But
Mhm.
afterwards, Stella went to try and be diplomatic after everybody's like, "Hey, we're done. Everybody thank you." Stella tried to talk to Brooke at the end. And Brooke said, "Why are you coming at me?" And Stella's coming like, "Hey, I want you to understand, this is how I felt." And, Stella told us in the camera, she's not here to fight with people. She's here for her person. But Brooke is fuming at the back. She is pissed off in the background. And she's going off and off. And Chris is like, "How do I support you? Just sit there and say nothing." She even snapped at Chris. Okay. But Brooke goes on to say that Stella, this is too much after 5 days. If this is true, then prove me wrong. And she says that Stella is a snitch as well. And I'm like, how is Stella a snitch when everything is being filmed? But Brooke says she doesn't want to be seen or be in a room with Stella ever again. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the questions, Brooke. Is how you ask her, is the relationship real?
Now, Brooke's a hater. And what some people do is they don't like to be called out when they're hating. So stop doing it. Because someone who knows what's happening, like Stella, she didn't confront her in a confrontational way. She came to her because she recognizes what she's trying to do. Brooke has a real mean streak. Like she's jealous of the happiness of other couples. Okay, things may not be moving in the right direction with Chris, but as we already spoke about, they're not going to because you already have a man that you've been going home to as well. You've been cheating the whole time, Brooke. So if you to stand there and be judgmental over our relationships when you got a whole relationship off the show, plus you're playing Chris on the show, playing in his face, what are you doing? Getting involved in other people's relationships. You need to lay low and keep quiet. That's what you need to do, bro. Mean girl energy doesn't make you more attractive. Some people think that being a mean girl makes them cute. Doesn't. Yeah? Like it ruins the chemistry in the ladies area when the brides get together, and because there's so much infighting. And then when you get to the dinner parties and the mixers, then there's going to be bad vibes. So Brooke, like, she's too stuck up. She really is. She really is. And
She really
I don't think she likes Stella's demeanor, which is calm and respectful and more traditional. And Brooke just thinks she's gifted with model looks, so she can skate past, a lot of other things. It doesn't work like that. Your pretty privilege will only last for so long. And then when your true character shows, that's when everybody starts to realize, the looks and the attitude don't match.
You're so correct because the behavior is what is turning a lot of people off. It's not the looks, it seems this season. Seems like how you treat other people, how you treat your person is what's turning people off. It's not that. But you're right. You are spot on. I don't think Brooke likes Stella's demeanor. Stella is very grounded. She is very, much, positive. She knows what she's here for, who she's here for. And she seems like she's got, her head on her shoulders, like pretty on straight. So I
Mhm.
think that is the problem. And it could be, could it be jealousy? Could it be Brooke actually really likes the look of Philip? And that's why she's like, "Well, he must be annoying you with something." She's looking for a wedge, an in to put a wedge between them. Because I was like, "What has Philip done to make such a visceral reaction from Brooke, or what has Stella done?" But as Absence is here, when it's saying in the comment section, when Brooke used the choice of words of snitch, could it be that Stella has seen Brooke in a very compromising, not position per se, but compromising, action, that she went and told production, which led to them realizing that Brooke still has the boyfriend on the outside? We don't know, but the word snitch is
Yeah.
very telling.
I think she used the word snitch because she felt like when Stella exposed the mean girl behavior, the hazing that she was experiencing, because when you see how awkward Brooke looked when she was when Stella was talking, and she was like, "Oh my God, that's me." And then she put her hand up after a little while because she realized the heat was on. So yeah, like she felt like Stella was snitching on what was taking place with the hazing with the girls. But Stella doesn't owe you anything. If you're gonna talk trash and try and bully or belittle someone and they out you for it, I'm sorry, but you got to own it. No one forced you or told you to be mean. No one forced you to make those faces. Those were all faces made when other people were talking about their experiences in their relationships. That's how much of a hater she is. She couldn't just sit there and contain herself and just listen. She actually got physically moved to mock other people's experiences. So, Brooke, I'm sorry. People, like I said, people are saying that we should beware of Chris being a villain. Brooke, you are the villain. And you came out of nowhere to take the prize, but you are the villain.
Yeah, she did come out of nowhere. We didn't see that. I thought Brooke was going to be the sympathetic, very pretty girl that understood the plight of other young ladies and not
Mm.
kind of shame them. But they said girls, girl. I did not see girls, girl anywhere near their behavior.
Nah. Imagine if it was a guy in her situation. Imagine if it was a guy who had a girl on the outside and then found out that she's pregnant and then decide, you know what? I'm going to leave this show early to go be with my pregnant girl. People would be villainizing him like, what were you thinking coming on the show in the first place? How can you be intimate with your girl 2 days before coming on the show? Wait, why are you going home to see your girl every weekend instead of staying in the process. Like he would be getting slaughtered. So we need to keep that same energy for Brooke.
Oh, heck yeah. We would we would be roasting him on an open fire.
Exactly. If it was
We'd be
Chris doing
totally
this,
roasting him.
if it was Chris doing this, oh dear, he would
It
be
is.
getting
So
barbecued.
I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on the red light, green light game?
I think it's a very messy game to play. I'll tell you why. Because they haven't really known each other that long at all, like a week at best, right? And yes, no one's perfect, but what you're seeing now may not be there after 2 or 3 weeks of being together.
Right.
So it's very early to be playing that type of game. And then, as I said, the moment you say something too positive or too negative, like, so if it's a green flag, it, like, you may get people saying, oh, that's not real. Your relationship's fake. Because that's what's happening, right? And then when you say something that's a red flag, they're like, oh, is it really that bad? Oh my gosh, there's no hope for you. And they're really jumping on that. So I think it's a very dangerous game to play because the people that you're sharing that information with may not have the best intentions for you. They don't know you either. They've only known you 5 seconds. But if they're jealous of your relationship, then they can go and tell your partner, or they can, really play havoc with you for sharing that information.
So do you have the same thoughts then? Do you have the same thoughts then with revealing the audition videos this week? Because for
Yes,
some couples, it brought them together. I mean,
of course.
Rachel and Steven, they
Yeah.
understand they both have the same body issues and dating issues, based on height or weight. But
Hmm.
for some, it, revealed a whole bunch of stuff, including with Gia and her husband, Scott. So is
Yeah.
it yours, the same thing you think
Yeah.
with the revealing of those videos?
Yeah. Kind of the same thing because what you ask for may not be what you get. So if you double down and say, oh, well, I want someone that looks like um, Brandon, what's his name? Or, if you're like Mel, who seems to have an idea that her man has to look like this particular actor, and anything less than that, she's not going to be happy with, right? When that video is played to her partner, then he's going to feel very demoralized because he's going to be like, well, I don't look nothing like Bradley Cooper.
Right.
So is that why she's been so hostile towards me? Is that why she's not giving me a chance? Because I don't look a certain way. And then in Gia's case, her biggest fear was how is he going to react to the child? Hearing that I'm a mum. And you know, even though he said after meeting her and finding out about the child, he would be there, but in her mind, she's thinking, yeah, but look what he said on the confessional. What do I believe? The confessional before the show or the words that he's giving me now? So I think it can go either way. It's not as messy as the red flag, green flag game, but it can go either way. You know?
I agree with you. It can go either way. It can bring people together or tear them apart.
Yeah.
It all depends on the person's processing of the information because,
Mm.
it can help you get through. But if you're not telling that to your partner, is where it gets messy. If you're not telling them that I have these red flag issues or this is what I like about you, your green flags, it will cause your partner to feel some kind of way. Hearing
Mm.
it elsewhere, as you said, with the red and green flag task. Now, the
Hmm.
audition tape, I really, the audition tape, as you said, is before. It's before you know who you're matched with, what you're going to be doing, and if you're even on the show. So it's all a wish list, and you don't technically know how questions are framed to the person by production. And it could be saying, in Scott's case, tell us the ideal. If you had a list of, whatever, if you had your ideal woman and you could pick for yourself, what would you pick? And he could have said that, not someone with a child. Or Gia could have leaned into that. We don't know Scott's relationship. He may have been, I hate to say it this way, he may have been saddled with the school fees and the financial responsibility of the child of the woman he was dating, and it may have scarred him. We have no idea why he said, I don't want to be paying school fees. He never said, I don't want anyone with a child because the child is going to be in my way and mess up my life. He said, I don't want to be paying school fees.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm like, oh, people have been coming at you for your money, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my thought with it. And of course, this is edited. He may have said other things, but I'm just basing it off of what we saw. But with all these folks, we have to start weeding down. We need to start weeding down couples. This is what we do on MAFS in Australia, y'all. Couples have to leave. There got to be at least 3 couples leaving. And so we can have some new weddings because people come in at halftime. So I need Mel and Luke to leave so Luke can get another bride. I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on who do you think is going to leave next week?
Mel and Luke both have to leave, because just like we may want Luke to stay on and find a bride that's a better match for him, Mel may feel entitled to another go as well, to find this Bradley Cooper dude, or whatever his name is, whoever this guy is. I gotta Google this guy to see what he even looks like, because I ain't never heard of him. But so Mel and Luke, I expect them to be gone very soon. Chris and Brooke go bye-bye. I think they're out very soon. We know that they have an early exit anyway. One more.
Stephen, Rebecca.
Stephen, Rebecca. Yikes. No. I don't think. I mean, Steve is in major trouble, and I still don't understand exactly why he's in as much trouble as he is. So no, I'm not going to say Steve and Rebecca. I'm going to say Beck.
Oh, Beck and Danny? Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I think her insecurities and her beef with Gia. I think Danny's lack of attraction. They need some major work. They need a major turnaround, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. That's the only reason why I say that.
They're going to be here till the retreat. I'm sorry. Danny ain't going nowhere. Danny ain't going nowhere. I'm sorry. These two, they ain't going nowhere. They are the grating of the nerves of Gia. They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but do they have a connection with it? Is their connection gonna go anywhere?
Danny is going to, and I'm sorry, I don't know Danny. I don't know this man, but he gonna put on a performance. Well, I'm trying. I'm really trying. She might leave, and he's like, no, we could have another go at this. We can really try. I can see him, as he say, he's a bit of mischievous. He's a bit of a naughty boy. I can see Danny being the one. We got to stay in this and get as much exposure as I can. I'm sorry, so? Right? He gonna fake it till the end.
Oh man, well, he gonna be faking a lot of things. He better be faking in the bedroom too, because if Beck and him do one more time, and he's like, nah, it didn't do anything for me. And
but they have. They said they did do this week.
Yeah, but this is the thing. He stares aimlessly out the window after he traumatized. He curled up in fetal position afterwards.
But they did do several times this week.
Yeah, and
He
it's not
said we're
bringing him.
getting closer.
Yeah, right.
It's more intimate now. They did it several times. They both said they did it several times, several places.
Yes, I think that was possibly done for libido purposes, but I don't think they're going to grow in attraction. I think their insecurities on Beck's side, he's constantly having to reassure her, and she's constantly taking jabs at him. So I just don't see how they turn it around like that. That they can hide behind the the amorous activities all they want. That's just a cover. But the underlying issue is she's very insecure.
That she
But
is.
I see
That
them. The only, like I said, the only reason why I mention them is because they have a lot more work to do than the other couples. Stephen and Rachel, you know, I can see them growing, but I can also see either one of them being a bit too sensitive for a particular criticism or an incident that takes place. Something really rocks their confidence. Either one of them, but I see them having more chance than Danny and Beck of staying.
okay, hold on. I got the photo. I got the photo. I just got to upload it. Y'all give me a moment because this was wild to me for both of them. Let me I got the photo. And it is absolutely wild, y'all. For those of you who have not seen the show and seen that moment, it is absolute deal breaker, at least for me. If this is how you are looking after your first encounter with me, we have a major problem. We have a major problem. Okay, this is it, y'all. This is the moment we're talking about between Beck and Danny. Look at him. Look at him. She is saying, "Oh my god, it was wonderful. It was amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing." Not pass Danny a note, you in danger. Don't stay.
Yeah,
Yes, that is him looking out the window and she is satisfied.
yeah.
She
He's
is
like he's like, man, I wish I'd tagged in the body double to do that scene.
she is satisfied. She is well pleased. Okay? She is well pleased. And he is looking out the window like, I hope that girl runs by. I'm sorry. That's just what Beck was saying.
Listen,
But
he was probably looking out the window when they were getting down too.
mm, if, if it ain't dark enough, he might have. Maybe that's why she thinks he constantly looking away. But she is basking in the glow, as Quay says, of a good shag. And he is like, what did I do? Why did I do that? And how do I get out of doing that again? I've
Yeah,
got 8 weeks of this.
it was her best and his worst.
I was so glad I was able to pause at this moment and catch it because I'm telling you, they went real fast past this moment. I had to slow it all the way down in slow motion and catch it. This is wild. If a man is ever looking like this after your first encounter, don't try and go and shag again. I'm sorry. Don't try and shag again.
Mm. It's you, like, remember when they were at the table and he said, "Listen, we're gonna pretend we have a neuralizer from Men in Black, and we're gonna forget this moment ever happened." That's what he wants to do here.
you need them.
Yeah, where's the neuralizer, guys?
Oh, he wants to
I need
forget
to forget
what
what I just
happened.
saw. I just saw something traumatic. I ain't forget this.
Mm. Yes, I was embarrassed for her. Oh my word. Because he said there's everything, and that's what I thought. Everything before this moment at this dinner, including this intimate setting, I want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Can, can,
Yep.
can we rewind and get me a whole other bride too? He want to forget everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All her friends and family are going to see this. Yeah, they are. They have. They have. They have seen this. And
Yeah.
this, go
He
ahead.
wished he had a neuralizer for his friends and family too. Just forget everything about this.
Totally. Totally forget everything about this. Go back to my way of life. I don't want to be here. And as the chat saying, fake the emergency so you can get the heck up out of there.
Yeah. He probably wishing for the fire alarm to go off.
They did do that.
They did while she was doing a confessional.
Right. They did a testing of the fire alarm and kept
But
it going.
he was wishing they would have tested it while they were about to be intimate. So they could quick, quick, quick. Let's put our clothes back on and let's run downstairs. Quick.
That's a good one. Oh my word. Y'all, this has been a week. Definitely, as we said, we had two new couples. Okay, we have two new couples at the end. Okay. Let me take down your comments. And Julia Grayson, Philip, and Stella. And this is our cast right now, y'all. Everybody at the bottom there. We will see who gets sent or who leaves, who writes leaves or who just walks out. We know Chris and Brooke leave early. Okay. And we think Mel and Luke, they got one more week to get it together. I don't think they can get it together. But during the course of this, we'll have weekly confessionals. I will try to put the photos and get the photos of who wrote stay, who wrote leave. I think that was a great addition to this live. Please let me know if you're on the replay. What did you think about this change of format quite a bit? But I'll see if I could definitely see on Sundays if I could watch the show and capture those photos for you. But these are our couples. I mean, some are doing great, and we know week to week things can change. Things can take a turn, definitely for any couple. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this season? Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, stay tuned for this season, man. Married at First Sight Australia always comes with excitement, entertainment, twists and turns. A couple that could be doing well one week, all of a sudden, one challenge or one lounge or one incident can just turn everything on its head. So stay tuned. You can find me on IG, on JRX TV, TikTok, I'm JRX TV, and on YouTube, Life is Reality. And it's been fun so far. And check out our episode next week when me and El Cid go live for the next round of reviews.
Right, definitely. So, Married at First Sight Australia, we're coming this weekly on Sundays at 2 p.m. EST. We're making sure we, give you all a little bit of laughs, give you all what the scandals are, as we would say, the cheating scandals of it all, anything we see in the social media streets, because we know that sometimes this, this footage, this information is kind of like kept away from us of a different hemisphere. Okay. But definitely we are here for you. Y'all, in just about an hour, I'll be covering Married at First Sight, not Married, no, Love is Blind. See, too much Married at First Sight. I'll be covering Love is Blind Ohio, the first 6 episodes that dropped. And just so y'all know, March, my favorite, Love is Blind Sweden is back. Love is Blind Sweden, to me, is the most successful franchise because we've only had one divorce in all the couples. just realized one of my favorite couples decided to, separate amicably. But Love Is Blind Sweden is coming in March. So we are here for it, for all the versions, all of the things, okay? But y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us. We are here for you. Thank
I
you,
have,
and we will see you on the next one.
I have one thing
Okay?
just before we bounce out. Exclusive interview tonight with Mr. Bello from Ready to Love. So check out the Actually Aubrey channel, maybe even streaming it on my channel. But interview with Bello from Ready to Love tonight.
Awesome. So y'all definitely Ready to Love Bello from Ready to Love Detroit is going to be interviewing with GRX TV. I'm hoping you come up with some heavy hitting questions.
Yeah, we're gonna nail him tonight on some details, some information, and get his take on his show and also what he's been doing subsequently as well.
Yep, stew them down like some good old oxtails. But thank
Absolutely.
y'all.
Well seasoned. Well seasoned oxtails, by the way.
There's a reason why I said that, y'all. And if you know, you know. But thank you so much, JR. We're going to pop in and definitely support you and actually Aubrey podcast. And as I say, everyone, I'll see you on the next one.